The two questions I asked myself when I started remodeling my basement were, how many lights do I really need? And how much power do I need to run them? I'll show you how I answer those questions, so stay tuned. First, let's talk about lumens. Lumens are the measurement of visible light emitted by a source. So basically, how bright a light is. There are a few different ways to determine how many lumens you need for a specific area. There are charts that offer a factor for a number of lumens that are sufficient for a bedroom or an office or a bathroom. I chose to use that method to determine the number of lumens for my shop area. Here is the formula. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but this is pretty simple. So multiply the length and width of your space to get the square footage. Then multiply the square footage by the lumen factor for your space. My shop is 13 feet by 14 feet. So 13 times 14 feet is 182 square feet. Based on the chart I used, the lumen factor for a garage or a shop is between 80 to 100. I used 80. So 182 square feet times 80 equals 14,560 lumens. The next step is to pick out light fixtures or bulbs that will meet your lumen needs. For my shop, I selected LED fixtures that have a lumen count of 1800. So to effectively light my shop area, I divided the 14,560 lumens by 1800 to get 8.08. So I need 8 of those light fixtures to light that area. Now the hard part. How much juice do I need to power those lights? When dealing with batteries, you need to know about watt hours. A watt hour is the measurement of total energy supplied if 1 watt is maintained for 1 hour. Another term that I use is amp hour. This is a rating that describes how much amperage a battery can provide for 1 hour. So let's get down to the numbers. Earlier we calculated that I need 8 lights for my shop area. These lights are 8 watts apiece at 12 volts. So first we need to determine the number of watt hours that we need. So let's say I'm planning on running these lights for 3 hours a day. So watts times hours equals watt hours. So 64 watts times 3 hours equals 192 watt hours. Now we want to factor in some backup hours. There may be a few days where there's no sun or very little sun. So I chose 2 days. So we take the 192 watt hours and multiply that by your number of backup days. So I said 2, and that equals 384 watt hours. To determine the watt hours of a battery, we simply multiply the volts times the amp hours. And just a little note here, from what I've read and researched, a lithium battery will release almost 100% of its charge. A sealed lead acid battery will only discharge about 50%. So I have sealed lead acid batteries, and they're 12 volts and they're 18 amp hours a piece. So if I multiply 12 volts times 9 amp hours, I get 108. And since I have two of them, you can go ahead and multiply that 108 by 2. So that's going to give me 216 watt hours. So as you can see, I do not have enough battery capacity to run these lights 3 hours a day and have 2 days worth of reserve power. If I do not use them every day, I could probably skate by, but I will probably just upgrade my batteries. Okay, so now we need to know how many solar panels and what size panels do I need to keep my batteries charged. So to do this, we take the watt hours we need to consume and divide that by total hours of sun. In the United States, we get about 5 good hours of sun a day. Some areas get more, some less, but the average is 5 hours a day. So with that in mind, we'll take our 384 watt hours that we need to have in reserve and to consume. We're just going to round that to say 400 watt hours, divide that by the 5 good hours of sun we'll get a day, and that's going to equal 80 watts. So you're going to need at least an 80 watt panel, but I would go ahead and round that up to a 100 watt panel just to make sure. Okay, I know that was a lot of math, but I hope I broke it down in a way that was easy to understand. I mean, if I can figure it out, I know you can. Now, if you fell asleep somewhere between lumens and amp hours, that's okay. Just rewind and watch it again. A reason that folks give for not using solar power is I can't run what I need to. My answer to that is plan out your solar power system using these formulas, and then it will be sized correctly for your needs.